What is going on, everybody? It's been a long time. We have been gone for a while now, but we're finally back, and we can finally start talking about the new She-Hulk series. We apologize for missing the first episode on the week of its release. Just to get that one out of the way as well as this one, we're just going to squeeze both of the first two episodes into this one video, so we can still cover the first one while also touching on the one we got yesterday. Also, just to give a quick little shout to our new shirts and such on our website, heavily inspired by the She-Hulk series, as well as the comics, of course. Feel free to check those out. Link is in the description. Of course, there will be spoilers in this video, so this is a spoiler warning right now. If you haven't gotten the chance to see the episodes quite yet, make sure to watch them before continuing here. With all of that out of the way, let's get into those two episodes. Starting off with our thoughts on the first episode, we will also be touching on some Easter eggs in the episodes as well, just some comic booky types of thoughts regarding some things too. Overall, the first episode was a very strong start to the series, and I believe that it's probably the strongest premiere that we have gotten out of the MCU's Disney Plus shows, and it seems like that is said quite a bit, but it's mainly because the shows that are coming out keep on improving every single time, at least for now. The introduction and origin to the character of Jennifer Walters, and of course She-Hulk, was done in a great way, and all of the comedy was actually good, and it's an actual funny show that will genuinely make you laugh. The MCU can often come with some cheesy or overdone comedy, but She-Hulk is genuinely funny so far, and it doesn't have that cheesy sort of feeling to it, and it feels a lot like the character of She-Hulk. Speaking of our main character, She-Hulk, the actress that plays her, Tatiana Maslany, was definitely the right pick to play the character. So far, she has done a phenomenal job taking on the role of the character and all of the aspects of the character, like her comedy. The fourth wall breaking in the show is just phenomenal and really seals that sort of feeling of enjoyment and satisfaction when seeing a favorite character from the comics brought into live action, and it be so similar or as similar as it really could be or as I could want is amazing. And the first episode on its own felt like an actual She-Hulk comic. There were things that even felt a lot like a comic book, and it being very comical. The little references to former MCU projects and characters like Iron Man, and of course all of the Captain America jokes in this episode were a lot of fun and funny. So the first episode was absolutely great, hilarious, and I loved it. Some little thoughts I had on things in the first episode regarding comic book type things is first, the Sakaar ship that is trying to contact Hulk, as well as the character of Titania. I believe that this whole Sakaarian ship and Sakaar trying to give a message to Hulk could really be leading to a World War Hulk story, and having that brought to the MCU could really improve and help revive the MCU's version of the Hulk character, as he hasn't had a solo movie in years, and honestly he hasn't had a great individual movie that actually represented the character in a way that feels genuine to the character. So a World War Hulk project being possible could really bring light to his character in the MCU. And regarding the Titania stuff, the main thing I just wanted to say about her and her being in the show as a villain, or possibly the main villain of the show, we'll have to see where she ends up next, but I have a sort of curiosity when it comes to her MCU counterpart compared to her comic version. I am curious to see what they do with her origins in the MCU, as in the comics she was given her powers by Dr. Doom during the Secret Wars events, and we know that Doom hasn't entered the MCU yet and most likely won't for a while, and we know Secret Wars hasn't happened yet either, so I wonder how Titania's origin will be handled in the MCU. Well, now that we've brushed over the first episode of the series, let's get right into talking about the second episode. The second episode of the series was a little shorter and felt a bit quick, but that's perfectly fine as there are 9 episodes total, and the episode was still really enjoyable all around. All of the great aspects that come from the first episode continued and stayed around for the second episode as well, and this episode had a great continuation to the story of She-Hulk and the lawyer side of the show as well, as we got to see her given the job of being a part of the Superhuman Law Division, which could just bring so many different opportunities to the lawyer side of the show. Seeing her represent different heroes and even villains in court will be a lot of fun. The little tie-ins to other projects like the Shang-Chi movie, and seeing what Abomination did during that movie, and seeing Jennifer now interacting with him and having to represent a former villain in court will be really interesting to see. And when it comes to this lawyer stuff as well, well. We know that Daredevil will be in this series as well, so I wonder if we will see Jennifer and Matt go against each other in a court case, much like we saw them do in She-Hulk number 10 back in 2004, where she showed us just how good of a lawyer she is and who you could say is the better lawyer out of the two, as she proved Steve Rogers' innocence and won the case against Matt Murdock. This episode continued more of the super fun fourth wall breaking, which just continues bringing that feeling of sort of being in a She-Hulk comic or reading one of her issues. The series so far just feels so much like the character. I will say though, like I did with the Ms. Marvel series, this series may not be everyone's cup of tea, you could say, but I would 100% recommend the series to anyone, even only being 2 episodes into the series so far. In this episode, there was actually a huge Easter egg. Some may have not noticed it, but I have seen a ton of people pointing this out as well, so let's talk about it. When Jen is looking through her laptop here, we can see on the side of the screen there are 2 article titles, so let's talk about the lesser of the 2 first. The one on the bottom says why there is a giant statue of a man sticking out of the ocean, which is obviously a reference to Tiamat and the events that happened during the Eternals film. Now, for the article on the top, this one says, man fights with metal claws in a bar brawl. If you couldn't already tell who that's referencing by the title of the article, this is a clear reference to the character of Wolverine, and with them mentioning a lot of superhumans popping up around the world earlier in the episodes and the events of the Ms. Marvel series, the mutants and the X-Men are getting closer and closer to being seen in the MCU, and technically now, Wolverine is canonically a part of the MCU's universe. We just have not seen him physically yet. When will we actually be seeing him and the rest of the X-Men? Well, we'll just have to wait for the day that we figure that out. Maybe we will hear something at D23 that's in a few weeks, or maybe his first appearance will be a surprise of sorts. Either way, I cannot wait to see Logan and the X-Men on screen again. Before we get out of here, we just want to let you know, if you want some extra laughs, make sure to stay for the post-credit scenes for both of the episodes, as well as future episodes, as I've heard that the first 4 episodes all have post-credit scenes. This was a bit shorter of a video, especially compared to our other ones when talking about different episodes, but that is only because we were already behind and just wanted to brush over these 2 episodes, as well as the little Easter eggs in them. Our next video on the She-Hulk series next week for the next episode will be back to normal on schedule and back to the full in-depth breakdowns as well, so make sure you stay tuned for them. Also, make sure you let us know how you liked the episode, but also feel free to leave some video suggestions in the comments below as well. We would like to start talking about comics here on the channel, and we want you all to give some suggestions for that down in the comments. Now that's about it for these 2 episodes of the She-Hulk series. With all of that being said though, thank you all for watching. If you are feeling extra nerdy today, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on to help support the channel and to get more nerdy content like this. And as I always say, we will see you all the next time that we go through and explore the nerdy multiverse.